So, two of you have sent me this video and numerous other people have asked me my thoughts on it. My thoughts on this video, on this channel, on this guy? Well, it basically comes down to this.
Hell, it's about time.
I am Skywarp, this is Cruisers Gaming, and we have a lot to unpack when it comes to my thoughts on SP4's video, The Dark Side of Forza, which, at the time of recording this, has a staggering 335,000 views, so it looks like it's making some waves in the Forza communities. Now, I agree with most of the stuff he said in the video, and I'll get to that in a bit, but there is one truth that he spoke. A truth amongst truths, and it's this line here.
I also don't expect this video to change anything.
Sadly, he knows this. The Forza loyalists know it. The devs know it. And I know it. How do I know that it won't change anything? Because I made a very similar video 2.5 years ago, pointing out a lot of these same shenanigans and shortcomings. Along with the fact that while I was a marshal, I was out and out lied to by a developer. Yeah, what was supposed to be the epitome of trust between an elite group of Forza players and the developers, and a developer out and out lies to me. Not just a little white lie either, but a very manipulative and conniving one at that. Now, am I saying that SP4 stole the idea for my video? No, not at all. I say that because it's impossible, due to the fact I never released the video. I made it, I uploaded it, I never released it. Why? Well, I thought about it for a long time, and eventually just decided not to, because in the end I realized the same thing that SP4 did. It wouldn't change anything. It's not like by releasing it, I would have been exonerated by the Marshall program. I don't even know if, in the end, it would have made me feel better. The more time that passed, the less I cared. And frankly, I had stepped off that Forza train about 2.5 years ago. If you haven't noticed, there was a big shift on the channel here where I slowed way down on making Forza videos and started making real-life car content, and to be honest, it's a ton less stressful. Also, side note, if you were originally subscribed for Forza content and stuck around for stuff like Skywarp Summer Drives and the Bigfoot videos, you guys are my absolute favoriteest subscribers on the YouTube channel. Thank you. When I was removed from the Marshall program, the program was a shadow of how it once started. It was ran originally by Brian Eckberg, or as the community knew him as, Mechberg. Turn 10 has hemorrhaged good people since about 2020. Amongst these people are devs that actually cared about the community and the games, including Mechberg and John Iwana, with others that I just can't mention.
Okay, just sit back. You all right?
I think so.
Are you sure? Because you just went through a wall.
It's no coincidence that Forza has had the best of both developers and players leave. They were just the first to abandon a sinking ship. The subject of political correctness is a slippery slope. However, Turn 10 and Playground Games seem to be hell-bent on it. The hypocrisy that SP4 mentions about the enforcement of the livery program versus the neglect of the leaderboards is a product of valuing that political correctness over game quality. As a marshal, I observed, after Mechberg's exit, that the priority was put on political correctness, both in the devs enforcing it amongst themselves and enforcing it amongst marshals and players alike. Look, I totally get, in this day and age, the necessary evil that is political correctness from a game studio has to be there, especially in online gameplay. As a matter of fact, I made a video defending some of the devs' decisions regarding this. But it's just that. It's a necessary evil, not something to be the main focus of devs. I observed that some, not all, but some of the devs took way more pride in the social justice end of enforcing the terms of service than they did actually fixing players' issues with the game. As for SP4's poor individual dealings with the large teams, it's to be expected. I learned very early on that these large teams are cliquey at best, and they are ruled with an iron fist to protect those inner cliques, no matter if the outsider is right or wrong. And that's just the nature of the beast when it comes to dealing with any of these large gaming groups, Forza or not. The fact that the groups SP4 mentions are affiliated with Forza devs is unfortunate, but it makes perfect sense too. Look, Forza devs, they really don't care too much for individual players, as apparent from their rampant banning and copy-pasted replies from their ticket system. So, when their affiliated groups stomp all over somebody like they did SP4, they're not going to care then either. And let's face it, these groups have a massive presence on online social media within the Forza community, much bigger than Motorsport and Horizon games combined do. So Turn 10 and Playground will gladly turn a blind eye and give special privileges to the operators of these groups to, in turn, advertise the games, as these groups' reach go far beyond what traditional advertising or the devs could ever reach themselves. This relationship is mutually beneficial to both parties. However, you, as an individual, you are never going to get in a word edgewise with either party. You're wasting your words, just like SP4 did with his video, and it's just like what I'm doing now with mine. Now, in these type of vids, I don't like to play just one side of the party, so in the devs' defense, I will say this. The Forza community's treatment of the devs overall is downright appalling. I remember seeing quite the comment by a player clear back in 2016. It was an entire paragraph berating and cussing the devs because his mom's Honda CR-V wasn't featured in a DLC car pack, which I thought was extreme, which is why I've mentioned it before, but I'm mentioning it again. I didn't realize that that is a daily occurrence until I became a marshal and moderated my very first live stream. The negative remarks went beyond the problems that the game has and became personal attacks on devs. Female devs receiving the worst of this online abuse, with offenses ranging from being called everything but a woman to receiving dick pics from players. Frankly, if I were a dev, I'd be hesitant to talk to the community as well if all I had to deal with was this toxic negativity and childlike temper tantrums. I've mentioned before that while we, as the players, are wildly passionate about the Forza franchise, this is just a paycheck to developers.
For the good old American life. For the money, for the glory, and for the fun. Mostly for the money.
Who I would imagine need to be paid a lot more to be putting up with this disgusting ass behavior. Could the developers do a better job listening to individual community members? Yes. But they probably aren't going to do it until we as a community, as a whole, learn to treat them like human beings. Retail price of any Forza game does not entitle you to talk to any human on the face of the planet the way I've seen some of you talk to the devs. In conclusion, we all need to do better. So you guys asked me for my thoughts. There's some of them. As I bring this rant to a close, I can't help but still feel it's hollow because of the previously stated fact. This video won't change anything. I found that the best way to quit going around in this Forza circle was to get off the Forza train. I appreciate everyone's support on the real-life car videos, and if you haven't yet, go check out the Skywarp summer drives I have here on the channel, as my IRL car stuff is the norm here anymore. As always, friends, I thank you for watching, and remember, those friends, they're the family you get to choose. I'll see you next week, fellow cruisers.